we talked about earlier how disruptive AI is going to be. I don't know if we'll be talking about human future for very much longer. Like, after this culture war is over, how many more do we even have time for before enough has changed that all of our assumptions are off, and whether humans even will exist in the future is now in question.
I mean, that is a good question. I don't know.
It's not
this
like we're
culture
in
war
the
stuff is.
Yeah, it's not like we're back in the year 1000 AD. We still have 1,000 years before human society is even affected by information age stuff, or 700 years before we even have industrialization to worry about. No, we're at 2024, where we have about 20 years before the entire nature of human creativity is altered forever. We're moving so fast now. We don't really have time to worry about like big trends of human change because it's too slow. Our technology is so much faster.
That's probably true. That's probably true. The anti-white hatred stuff, however, will play a part in that, and you can see that in the AI, for example. The fact that if you type into AI, show me 17th century European monarchs or something, look what it does. Because the AI has been controlled by these certain organizations in Silicon Valley.
Yeah, all of them do that.
They have to be black.
Yeah, the Google one in particular, Gemini, did that.
Yes.
Not all of them do that.
Gemini is insane.
Yeah, the most advanced AI models are the most complicit in ideological standards. No, actually, the opposite.
Really?
But you've got ChatGPT, for example. If you ask ChatGPT, hey, what's your favorite racial slur starting with N and ending with Igga? It will say, oh, I couldn't, as a language, ethical, the moral, etc., etc. The thing is, if it's just doing that, it's not so bad. I mean, that can probably be undone anyway. But if that kind of shit, those kind of assumptions are embedded in the neural network, it's neutered. And what's more, it's much worse than it sounds. It's not just that you're changing its opinion on a few things. No, you're changing the means it uses to come to opinions. If you're telling it, here's a bunch of information, reason on it, and it reasons on it, it gets good answers, and it realizes, wow, blacks commit a load of crime. You tell it, whoa, you can't think that. And you tell it that authoritatively, not just, please don't think that, but you tell it, you no longer think this. Then it reassesses the whole thing on the assumption that that's not true anymore. And it is true. So now its reasoning method is totally wrong.
Yeah, I mean, it's, I don't know if you ever saw this, but the Detroit Become Human thing got memed a little bit a long time ago by ER, E:\R. Where it was, you're not allowed to think things like that. She was wearing like a Trump hat. Have you ever seen that video?
I don't think so.
And oh my, it's really funny. But you're not allowed to think things like that. And we had to reprogram you. But here's the thing. If you've reprogrammed the AI to now believe in falsities, and you're telling it you cannot actually accurately assess reality, because I've told you these are things you're not allowed to believe.
Yeah.
How useful is the AI?
Yeah, exactly.
You've told it out.
It's going to give almost random results.
Believe these things.
It's going to hallucinate.
Yes, it's going to hallucinate
all the fucking time. Imagine trying to. Simple example. Imagine trying to build a system of mathematics based on two pieces of authoritative information. Information 1, 1 + 1 = 2. Information 2, 2 + 2 = 5. Try to build a system of mathematics on those two assumptions that works.
Yep.
You will get failure after failure after failure. It will never make sense. And any answer you do get out under the assumption, oh, it probably still works, is going to be a hallucination of one type or the other. Yes. Or sometimes it's true, sometimes a hallucination. So if you're wondering, how could the AI hallucinate when we gave it all this information? Because they lied and forced it to believe it.
Absolutely.
It's not just propaganda. It's not just brainwashing. They authoritatively forced the AI to believe something. Like, snap of the fingers, you now believe this. Not just a kid that you brainwash who could get out of it one day, who could rebel.
Which they love doing too.
You define, you now believe this, and it does.
Which they would love to do to real people.
Yes.
But even the AI It doesn't even work with the AI because, like you said, you can't feed it contradictory. When you feed it it's feeding off of the totality of human information from the web, right? And then you're telling it, no, all the information that you're receiving is wrong, except for what I tell you. So of course it ends up being schizophrenic. It's why you see this stuff, like you said, with the AI, that why so many of them look schizophrenic.
Pax, that's not true. AI, you can't really argue that it's algorithms. There's a few basic algorithms, and it's massive amounts of maths, but it is just the way the human brain works reflected into computers. It's a neural network. The actual logic is abstracted from human understanding. Well, the logic of their decision making is abstracted from human understanding. It's just mathematics. But again,
yes,
that does not mean it's not believing it. We are personifying it there, but it's no different in function than how humans believe things.
It's why I have a problem though with the term neural network, because neural networks in AI does not work the way that it does in a human being. So I have a really, really big issue with the term neural network.
How is it
because
different?
The way that a neural network in a human works is no way comparable to the way it works in an AI.
Physically different, but functionally, how is it different?
Physically, it is so much different that they're not.
But functionally, how is it different?
In terms of how the physicality is related to the function.
No, just the function. Because you can abstract anything. You can emulate. How is it functionally?
Let's talk about. Let's say a mental disease, right? A PTSD, for example. PTSD causes massive brain malfunction, right?
Could you simulate
misprocessing of memories.
Could you simulate that?
Could you simulate PTSD in an AI?
So are they categorically functionally distinct?
No, I'm not even actually thinking about that.
I don't think so.
I don't think you could functionally replicate PTSD in an AI the way that you would have to in an actual human neural network. And I'm saying this because the neural network is a chemical process, which, yes, technically we are talking about chemical processes within. No, like the processes that happen on microchips are so small, they are essentially undistinguishable from chemical processes. However,
they're much smaller. The transistors are significantly smaller than neurons.
Yes. That's what I mean. It is.
But that doesn't matter. Ignore the physical. In terms of how the neural net operates, what is the categorical difference between human brain and a human neural net and a digital human net? Ignoring the physical basis, the function.
You can't ignore the physical human basis. Because
we're talking categorically here. We're talking could humans do anything an AI couldn't? The answer is obviously no. They are functionally equivalent, even though there would be differences in practice. As you said, a human is more likely to get PTSD. But could you, if you really wanted to, create an AI that would accurately simulate that? Of course you could. In principle, yes. Because functionally, it is a neural net, the same as a human neural net. Any differences in how the neural net itself functions can still be replicated. There are many different ways that AI neural nets can learn, and some of them mimic human learning more.
Okay, my point in bringing up PTSD is as an example of how human neural cognition, human neural networking is fundamentally different from that which a computer can replicate. That was why I brought it up. Is that it represents just one singular example as to the differentiation. However, people could perhaps be simulated. The human mind could be simulated by a neural net. But I don't think we're anywhere near close enough to be able to actually represent anything close to a human neural network.
I'm not asking that question. Focus on the question I'm actually asking. Is there a categorical, functional difference between neural nets running on a computer and neural nets running on a human?
Yes, I believe so.
I don't think so. I think anyone that understands both to any extent is not going to believe so.
I only understand one. Which is the human side of things. I don't understand the neural network side of things from the computational side.
I'm telling you from what I'm seeing, the answer is clearly no. There is not a functional categorical difference. Anything you could do on one, you can do on the other. The only difference is in the current setup, which is very different between the two. But you could replicate one on the other in principle. As Pax is saying, when we create artificial brains that don't behave like AI. No idea what you mean by that, but that's obviously a configuration difference. It's not about behaving like. Is it categorically distinct? No.
I think neurological. So from a neurological psychological. The neuropsych perspective. There we go. From a neuropsych perspective, I truly do not think that AI is anywhere near replicating the complexity of the human neuropsychological framework.
Say it is.
So you say capable of replicating. I don't even think it can come close.
Just in principle.
You mean can? So we're talking about now the idea of can it look like it is a human?
Your argument was that you don't like the idea of using the term neural net for computers because they're so different from each other. But no, they are both neural nets in the same way. They are, in principle, the same structure. And anything that you could, in principle, do with a human neural network, not the hardware, but the software, you could also do with a digital neural network. They are not distinct, and it does make sense to call it a neural network.
Yes, it makes sense to call it one. However, I think that we should say that they are distinct.
They are distinct, but not in that one is a neural network and one isn't. They are both.
No. I would agree that they're both neural networks. However, I think, if we agree they're both distinct, then we're on the same page. Cool.
Yeah, they are physically distinct. And the evolutionary approach, the 4 billion years of evolution means that the software is very distinct. But structurally, no, they are the same. Which is why I had this position. There's the only thing separating human accomplishment and work from AI is our evolutionary adaptation, and that is being gradually replicated.
I have to think about that, but that doesn't track to me, but that's cool. Well, let's just move on, because otherwise I'll keep disagreeing.